friends, it's Pat Sloan here. So it is time for our next installment of Christmas All Year. My buddy Wendy Shepherd's sampler from her Christmas book. So we have gingerbread boy, a gingerbread girl. So darling, oh, they're so darling. Let's see the quilt that they're in the book. Now the thing is with gingerbread, the fabric line is, all red, white, and green. And I'm just not gonna make a red or a green. Here's the red, whoops, banging things. Here's the green. I'm just not, red and green gingerbreads are just not it. So I had pulled some fabric in advance. Now here they are. This is the quilt in the, whoops, here's the quilt in the book with the gingerbreads. Aren't they wonderful? Look at them. Yeah, they are so cute. So cute. What you need to see is that the gingerbread is in the way it's laid out. There are two fabrics, like the body and then the little stripe parts, and then the girl has a little bow in her hair. Okay, so let's talk about that because I want to use more colors. Imagine that. So I want to use the gingerbread for the body and the bow one color, and the little sleeves and like the little stripes on the arms and the legs, I want to do their own color. So I have to have a few fabrics, and those little stripes can be the red or green. I'm totally good with that. So let's first look at gingerbread fabric, and you can make a decision. Do you want both your gingerbread to be the same or different? So I've used this yellow already, or I'm going to, I forget now whether it's actually in a block or not. I got everything here, but I forget what it is. But I think I'm gonna go with this one because it has a little bit of personality. I pulled this at the beginning to work with. Now, for the little sleeves on the gingerbreads, I also pulled this, which I thought that might be kind of cute for the little boy. And then maybe for the little girl, I will do the little stripes and then her bow with the polka dot, with this little scattery polka dot, which is not the fabric line. The fabric line has these kind of prints, and I think I just want to have something a little bit different. So that's what I'm going to do. That's my plan for those guys. So what's really fun is that looking at the quilts and looking at the different things, it brings back Christmas memories, which I think is one of the fun parts about doing this. When we lived in Germany, gingerbread people, I guess there were gingerbread people, but the gingerbread houses were the super big deal to get a gingerbread house. And we just bought them. I don't come from believe it or not, the other people in my family, the adults, mom and dad, are not crafty people at all. And so decorating a gingerbread house was not on their radar. But one year we were lucky enough that they decided we should go buy a gingerbread house. And it was just magical. I cannot tell you how excited I was to have that gingerbread house. And it sat in where the tree was. It's such a great memory to have that. Over the years, I've not been a big rolled cookie person, either eating them or making them. And so I think one time I tried making gingerbread shapes, but doing the rolls and dough and cutting shapes out of it is just not my gig. I'm like a stir and drop cookie person. But I'm sure that I must have tried them once. And I do like gingerbread as like a cake, like a gingerbread cake kind of thing. So if you want to talk about the food aspect of gingerbread, do that in my fireside chat over at Facebook because I think we'll hear some gingerbread stories. I think it would be awesome. So what I need to do is just go ahead. Here, you can see it up close. There you can see the little boy up close where you can see the stripes and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and I'll show you it all laid out on the design board so you can just see the components of it. It's pretty easy. There's a bunch of sew and flips, and of course, once again, these have a little bit more smaller pieces. If you feel like that you don't want to handle a small piece, you could starch your fabric and then cut it, starch it, let it dry, iron it, then cut out of it. I'm not. I'm just using it as is because I didn't starch in advance and I want to make it now. So, all right, I'm going to cut it up. While I was cutting this out, I realized that maybe some of you haven't really worked like this, where you're just making 1 or 2 blocks from a quilt. And so you have to sort of think through the amount that you're going to cut and things like that. So let me just show you how I'm approaching this particular block and how I approach a lot of things, as long as I can get a relationship between a diagram and a cutting directions, which a lot of people nowadays have that. And so it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so on your project, you've got letters, right, that correspond to the shapes, and you can see it's like the background, you know, we're working here, wait a second, there, you know, we're working on this. So you've got like a background K, a background T, and that is an ivory fabric. So some places will call it background, some places will describe the color of the fabric, like in here we're working with orange, and that was from the from the orange over here. So what I do is I know I have to make two gingerbread, right? 2. So I need to cut K 1 2 for block 1, 3 4 for block 2. So I have to do 4 of them. This particular quilt had 3 gingerbread, and so it gives you directions for cutting for all 3, but I don't need that many. So you do have to think through it. You can't just glance at it and blindly cut when you're working on a sampler that's taking just a block or 2 from a quilt. That's just the way it is. The other thing I wanted to show you is that Wendy gave you the directions for the bow for the girl back here. So there's where the directions are to do the little head with a bow. All right, so that's how I approach it. Another thing I do in order to avoid having so many little odd shapes out, because I cut as I go, is that right now I need 1 2.5 inch square. That's it, and I'm done with all the cutting from this fabric. So I'm looking around here and it's like, where's the most logical place to make a 2.5 inch square where I'm going to sort of disrupt the flow of the longer pieces? Does that make sense? Because like if I take it here, all right, that's not 2.5, which means I have to chunk up like this, and it would just be like a weirdo spot, you know? So I've got then this hanging out and that hanging out, so that's really not good. Over here is very narrow. Here is almost 2.5. I'm almost 2.5. And so what do? Do I cut it down from this end at 2.5? Or do I come up here at 2.5 and just sort of, it'll have to come in more. It'll have to bring, you know, in more like this. This area here is another long expanse. So you can see, oops, wrong way. You can see it kind of goes. Here we go, like that. So it's a longer expanse. It is also not 2.5, so I'd have the same issue. But this is longer expanse. So because this is a shorter one, I will come and take it out of here. I will just chunk it out of here, and I've got to go just a little bit past. I could take it from that corner up there, but I don't usually. I usually try to work, whoops, I didn't go all the way across well enough. There we go. I try to work kind of down in this area, so I'm pretty much sacrificing that a little bit depending on what I have to cut later down the road. But this is how I handle getting that, cutting as I need it, cutting pieces that I need and not having a lot of weirdo spaces. Okay, so now that I got that last one, here is everything we got. Here is everything cut out and ready to sew. This is the little girl's head. This is the little boy's head. Here are all of the tiniest little sew and flip squares down here. And the girl is the red and the boy is the charcoal color underneath. Okay. All right. Let me go. Let me go and sew. Here they are just before I finish the assembly. So these will go together to make the bottom part. Here's the little boy with the gray, so darling, and the red for the little girl. Okay, so there, and I'll just get those sewn up. And it's late. You can see by the shadows there. So I will resume this video tomorrow. The cute, cute, cute little gingerbread boy and gingerbread girl dancing, dancing, dancing. Okay, so where do they go up here? And you can see it's the next day because it was late and I wasn't going to film anymore late. It's too much. So the little girl is up here and the little boy will go down here. And I might be able to, I'm pretty sure, there we go. I'm pretty sure I can sew those now onto the row. So I can get that sewn onto the joy on each one. Under the bottom one, there will be a bunch of little stars. And then of course there's stuff where all those gaps are. Because remember, this is a year-long quilt-along, Christmas all year with Wendy, my buddy Wendy Shepherd. So it is using her book and things from the book. So, you know, all the patterns are in the book. So there we go. There we go. Oh, so cute. Okay, I have to show you her up again, up close. The little bow is so stinking cute. Look at that. It wasn't hard. It's tiny. It's tiny. Yes, 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 but it's not hard. Okay, so we'll leave them up there to enjoy. I guess I could have shoved everything down. Well, you're not going to see everything now, but anyway. I digress. Okay. Tidy up. From the tidy up, let me show you what I did. So yesterday I talked about our tidy it up. So here I am in the afternoon and, you know, there's thoughts. So first of all, this is, I just need to sew the backing. So that needs to be like done ASAP, as soon as possible, so that it's finished and then it can go on the shelf out there to go to the spa. I have the picnic quilt pattern here. Why is it there? I do not know. So that has to be recycled paper now. I have a few things to show you, but this is the Roar fabric in here. I got that peach, which I've decided I don't like for it. Yes, that happens. So I need to go through and show you that stuff. And here's all the Roar fabric. Now my problem with the Roar fabric right now is because it's not really in progress, I'm just trying out blocks. If I start putting it like in the blue bins, in the closed cupboard, this whole project disappears from my brain because it is just not what I'm currently thinking about. So what I need to do is probably put it in a bin on the shelf, but I might need to empty one of the bins on the shelf and put those things somewhere else. I have to take a look at that. So that's kind of why it's been sitting here, because if I move it too far away and too closed up, it just ends. The project ends. I will forget about working on it because it's really not in progress yet. Does that make sense? Do you have that happen? I think that's why some of us keep things out. We keep it out because we can see it sitting there reminding us. Now it could go here if I go ahead and put all that away, because that really should be put away too. So that'll be done and then I'll figure out where to put the Roar. It's never easy. Why isn't it easy? You just can't just do it, right? Yeah, you got to think through it. So that was good. Right now, of course, you can see over there, I do have a basket there, which is my binding basket. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But before, I have to say, yesterday I was talking about the jelly rolls, and I totally forgot that Moda still does 40. Some of the other manufacturers might as well, but many manufacturers have gone to 42 for their jelly rolls, their layer cakes, and their charm packs. So all of them are 42, except that Moda still does 40 in here. So maybe one day they'll increase that. But you have to look. So when you're looking at a pattern, just be sure how many strips that it says it needs and how many are in the jelly roll that you have purchased. Okay, so that's your public service announcement for the day. All right, let's talk about a personal challenge I've just given myself the other day. Like yesterday. So sometimes you just hit the wall on something. You come to like, I don't know, you just have, all of a sudden you think like, okay, now is the time to do that, whether it's a project or something you've been putting off or something you have wanted to do and haven't even started. Sometimes there's no space in our life to really start working on that. Or anytime you think about working on it, you're like, it's so much work and I'm not really willing to put the time into that right now. It's not my priority to work on that right now. Well, I believe it was yesterday. I went like, you know what? I am going to finish all of those bindings that have been sitting there for a while of the older quilts. Okay, so I just feel like right now I can do that and get it done by the end of the summer. That's the end of August for me, and make it happen. Okay, so we're going to try it because I have whittled them down some because things are still coming in, whatnot. So let's first go look at what I have. Plus, there's things back there. So we're going to talk about those next. So it's gotten to the point where, besides the ones I showed you in there, or will show you, that I have these and then just these. There's just 2 on there and then this group here. And some of them have been around quite a long time, like that one and this one, waiting their turn on binding, like years and years and years. But I'm ready. I'm ready to just get these all done by the end of the summer, by the end of August. Plus I have ones at the spa, like I said, that are coming back, and the ones that have to go to the spa. These are tops that I do want to get quilted, probably. I'm still, a couple of them absolutely, 1 or 2. They may sit a little bit longer as tops and then go to charity. Okay, there we go. So that feels doable. It no longer feels like overwhelming. But the first thing I want to show you is this piece, because it was like in a partial state of hand big stitch quilting. Let me show you what I did the other night. This is a little quilt. I may have showed you this. I think I did at some point. It's just it's a piece of fabric. This was the fabric and the floral, and then I just add a little inner and outer border. And I had basted this loosely with pins, and I had started doing kind of a big stitch on it. I thought, I had grand plans. I would take this along on my trips and kind of work on it. And that I have no interest in doing that now, although this is fun with the red. I really don't have any interest in doing that. I'm not a big stitch quilter. I don't want to do this much, even though I felt like this was kind of doable. It would be fun. I'm not interested. So what I'm going to do is take all the pins out, take all the quilting out, which shouldn't be too hard since it's big stitch. It should come out pretty easily. And then I will give this to charity so that they can quilt it up for, a little child's quilt. So here's the backing, is super fun, bright, reds, it's got black, but I think it's bright and fun. So, okay, this is one that it's a little bit of work, but hopefully that stuff will just come out pretty quick. So now I still have pins to take out, because I thought to myself, well, I could leave the pins in and I could just do the wave stitch on it and just get it done, like for like a small, it's a decent size. I mean, it's a decent size, but I started taking the pins out, and then I thought, well, maybe I would do that. But if I did that, it would be after the bindings. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stop with the removing of the pins and leave it for now up on the shelf and put it down on that lower level and just see what happens. See what happens. Okay, the other 2 that are first on the docket are these 2. And okay, the first, I think I'll do the small one first, because that'll kind of like But I've got a small one and a big one. The other one's the Barn Star, and I'm not opening the Barn Star right now because then I got to fold it back up, and I'm just not doing that right now. But this one was the Socialites that I turned into the heart, which I think it's very summery. And I thought I'm going to, oh no, I turn it into butterfly. I'm sorry. I said heart. I meant butterfly. Turn it into the butterfly. I think I'm actually going to do this one first so that I can hang it up in my hall. And this is one where I use one of those wide backs in the words. And the quilting is so spectacular. It's like graffiti quilting. My long armor did this, you know, where it's like all different kind of shapes and they kind of like bounce off each other and curves and pearls. And I needed a binding because I didn't make a binding for that one, which is my bad. I luckily found this, which was, I used a fig tree fabric, and that's that same blue. So I'm like, yes, the angel sang. The angel sang. Okay, and after that, I will do the Barn Star, which is bed size. It is trimmed already and gorgeous binding already made. So that will be next. I also got out the binding basket. So those of you who have been for me for a while, know that I've been particularly awful at keeping track of binding because my things will go for, you know, sometimes they're at the spot for a while like yours are, but when they come back, I don't actually have a purpose for them, so I don't bind them. I work on other projects that have deadlines and goals, so I haven't been binding, but now I'm changing, you know, I'm changing to do them as they come back. And right now I don't have any back. That's why I thought, you know, I'm going to get that backlog done so that whenever they do come back, I don't still have that backlog nagging me. It'll be gone by the end of the summer. And there's my binding basket. And I think there are a few of the ones on the shelf, the older ones, that I don't have binding for. And I'm going to do an inventory and see what it is I don't have binding for and get that made so that that is done too, because I think I trimmed them all. I think I did that a while back. They're all trimmed, but I don't have a binding for, I think, a few of them. So that's my other goal. Okay, my friend, our once a month Christmas all year. Oh, look at the gingerbread. They're so darn cute. Okay, so I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online. Oh, remember, I'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.